You know, roughly 3 weeks ago, Oregon Governor Tina Kotek issued her recommended budget for the next 2 years. There's a lot of spending in it, roughly $32 billion. But one thing that we noticed that is not there, money for the new I-5 bridge. And that missing $1 billion, that's our big story tonight. Now, when I say the money is missing, it's not like somebody took it. The governor just did not put any money for the bridge in her proposed budget. Is that a big deal? Well, yes, thank you for asking. It certainly is, because Washington State already committed $1 billion, and now Oregon is expected to pony up another $1 billion, and the federal government will kick in some money. Just how much? That's a story for another day. Here's a comment from Greg Johnson, the program administrator, talking about bridge funding last December.
So as far as funding, back in March, the Washington legislature generously put up $1 billion to help fund the construction of this program. And we'll be going before the Oregon legislature in the 2023 session for a similar ask of $1 billion. But we're also looking for dollars from the federal government, as well as some tolling to help pay for and help operate and maintain this the new bridge that we construct.
Now, here's a quick backgrounder for those of you a little bit fuzzy on this project. There is a serious effort underway now to build 2 new bridges over the Columbia River next to the existing I-5 bridges. One of the existing bridges is 105 years old. Roughly 143,000 vehicles cross the bridge each weekday. And by the way, it's one of the region's worst bottlenecks. Rush hour in the morning and night can last as long as 5 hours for each commute, so 10 hours. That's why there's a push to build the new bridges with more room. An earlier effort failed back in 2013, but this one is charging ahead. But it's not going to be cheap. The latest estimate is at least $6 billion. So you'd think the governor might include $1 billion Oregon is expected to kick in, but she did not. I emailed her office today to ask why. They did not respond. A lack of priority from the governor in her budget, well, that means that the problem then is dumped into the lap of lawmakers. I talked with our political analyst Betsy Johnson about that today. She has served on the legislature's Ways and Means and Transportation committees, and she is out of office now.
I think the absence of funding for the bridge sends a very significant message to the legislature. It puts the blame on the legislature in that now this is your problem, and I think it sets the process back.
Now, in a way, it's always been the legislature's problem. The governor only proposes a budget. It's the lawmakers who really crank out the numbers and decide who gets what. And yes, the budget does have to balance. This is not the federal government. That will be tougher than the last couple of years. The state is expecting to have about $3 billion less to spend in the general fund. That would be about 11% less for the next 2 years.
The problem that I see looming for the legislature is the federal money is beginning to wind down, if not disappear. I can't tell you how many meetings I've been in that just say, well, the legislature will get it from the general fund. There is a terminus to how much money the legislature can find. And so if the Department of Forestry wants to backfill the failures of that department with general fund, that's another bite. If we do some kind of magnificent housing or the work on the chips, the silicon chips, all of that is going to require money. And it remains to Ways and Means, the professional staff as well as the co-chairs on the House and Senate side, to find that money and fit it into a balanced budget mosaic.
Now, we probably won't see that budget start to take shape for another month or so. Regardless of how Oregon lawmakers find the $1 billion needed, the new bridge will have tolling. In fact, tolling will start on the existing bridge as the new one's being built. Betsy Johnson said planners should be thinking about what that will do to semi-trucks carrying freight.
If tolling happens, where does that traffic movement occur? Is it going to jam up the other urban bridge? Is it going to send traffic up to the Lewis and Clark Bridge in Longview-Kelso? Is it possible it sends it up to the Megler Bridge between Washington and Astoria? How do those distribution centers get serviced if we suddenly dramatically change the traffic flow to manipulate around tolling? How do companies absorb this cost? How do commuters absorb the cost? How does some mom taking their kid to school absorb the cost? That's less present on the I-5 bridge as tolling is on, say, the Abernathy Bridge or some of the other lesser bridges.
If the bridge project moves forward, leaders expect to start construction late in the year 2025.